Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking all about how to organize your spices in your kitchen, where it should go, and how to keep it tidy, especially if you have a lot of spices like we do. Let's get into it. Now I've got spices right here in this cupboard beside the stove. Very handy. It's not really spices, it's more like our salt and pepper and other kind of brothy trinkets and oils and balsamic vinegar and things like that up here. So this is not my main spices cabinet, although I do store some things in here. Our primary spices drawer is right over here, which is a nice little pull-out drawer. And what I really like about this drawer is that it's right beside my stove, and so I can easily access any spices that I need. And we've got it organized in such a way here where I have labeled the tops so I can see the spices that I have, and I can also see these very easily because, well, you can see through the glass, you have an idea of what you're looking for, and then it's also labeled. And these jars for my spices that I use more often are so handy because it's big enough that I don't need to refill it all that often, and then the ones that I don't use that often are in these smaller jars. Now you can see that I've got some spices heaped up here that need to be organized into jars. I've got some spices here that we haven't used at all, so I can clean some of this out. And that's what today's video is all about. I'm going to show you how I refill, organize these jars, and then we'll add a few more jars for some of these things that I don't have a jar for to restock with. And then I will show you where I do save my overflow, because that is just a natural thing of spices, is that you do kind of need a backup space where you keep all the excess. So lots to do in here, and it probably is good to give this drawer just a big clean up. I've just got some homemade cleaner that I made in this. I think it's got some lemon juice and vinegar and maybe some water. I'm just going to give this a quick once over. Let this air up for a minute, and while I do that, let's restock some of our spices over on the island. So I've got all my spices laid out here. I've got, well, first I should see, first I'm going to check what I don't use. I've got a jar here of, I think this is green onion. I don't even know, yeah, some kind of onion that I haven't used, so I'm going to get rid of that and now add that back in here. I've also got some else here. If I didn't label it, I was probably trialing it, and I haven't used either of these. So that frees up 2 large jars for me to add back in there. Got an empty curry spice mix. I don't know if I have more of that. Some bay leaves. Let me pull up the backup and we'll see what we can to refill this. So up here I store just one of these, I don't know, material containers, and I keep all of my backup spices in here. Now I've acquired a lot in the meantime that I don't think I have jars for. One primary one is oregano. I use that quite often. Now I've been collecting these jars because I actually bought a whole bunch of these little jars from Uline a little while ago. They're the primary source that I buy my jars from, just because you can buy them in bulk for really cheap. So that's what all these are, ball jars from Uline, but they recently stopped making this smaller size, which I actually, well, very much like. So I have stocked up on some of these at the thrift store. Before I go go any further with the spices over here, I think I should just have a look through this cabinet here, because I've thrown some things in here last minute that would be worthwhile checking out. As I do with all my cupboards, the first thing I'm going to do is pack everything out. Spices is something that you can have duplicates of so easily. Oh man, I'm shocked. I'm quickly gonna give this cabinet another quick clean over and then get to packing things away. I've got lots of extra spices here that I can add to those jars. I have some things here that can go in the baked goods cabinet, and lots of duplicates, lots to throw out that we're not using. So great to do this. Alright, now I've got this large upper shelf here specifically for oils. So I'm going to pop that back in there. And these large bottles fit perfectly up there. I'm just keeping the things I don't use as much in the back, and the things I use more often in the front. Really the only other spice I keep in here is this Montreal chicken spice and our pepper and salt. And the rest doesn't actually have to go back in this cabinet because it's, yeah. This is our camping salt and pepper. I'm just gonna keep these in here. I don't wanna lose them. Got our oils up there. Some beef, chicken and vegetable stock here, fish rub, toothpicks, salt and pepper things down here. So really just very, very simple, keeps the countertops clean. And over here is where I want primary spices. A bunch of stuff that we're gonna get rid of, either outdated spice packs, Gatorade, things like that, which we're not gonna use, old Nutella, syrup, meat spice. I don't use that stuff. This is empty. This is gonna go in the baking drawer, shall I say cabinet. And then this is some more of those spices stuff that I bought in the meantime and I've been using, which I'm gonna add to my pile here and get to organizing. Alright, now there is a lot here. So I think the best thing to do is quickly sort everything by kind. That way I know what I have. Yeah, I'm just gonna quickly sort all this out and then maybe I'll give you a spiel of what worked afterward. I've got everything organized and packed in by kind so I can see how much of each I have. So I'm gonna start by packing this stuff away. Final result. Very similar as before. I've just got some extra jars up here. This garlic powder and garlic onion jars up here. And now I'm just going to store some of the stuff that I don't want to get rid of. This is granulated onion. I prefer onion powder, but I just want to keep this here and finish it off instead of throwing it out. I'm going to add any of the rest of the stuff in this overflow that I don't need right now. Sesame seeds and so on. And now what I'm noticing with the spice drawer is just that you gotta keep your hand on it, refill it often, but this system makes it so easy for me having these larger jars for the spices we use often, smaller jars for the ones we don't use as often or don't use as much of. And again, having this drawer here is so convenient. And anytime I don't use spices anymore or don't like that they're in a bigger size, I can just wash these jars and reuse them again. Take off the marker off of the label and just relabel it. So super easy. That is how I organize my spice drawer. I find that these jars are big enough that I don't have to do it that often. So that to me is a big plus. And having a separate storage for the spices versus keeping the oils and the other things in a different cabinet here, that just works really well for us. So I hope that that's been helpful for you and that you have just gained another idea of how to organize your spices at home. If you found this helpful, I'll leave some links down below where you can order these jars. Again, I think they're fabulous for organizing your spices, and you can up your sizes depending on how much you use of a spice. So the world is your oyster for spices organizing when you use these kinds of jars. Fabulous idea. You could also use a label maker, do fancy labels. I have one, I should have actually done that. Maybe when I have more time, I will put nice little labels so that they're easier to spot. Especially for some of these where you're only seeing the side, maybe that would be helpful to have some labels. But anyway, this is just a good start. If you have found this helpful, I hope that you will leave us a like and maybe subscribe to this channel and catch some of our upcoming content. We're going to do a lot more organizing here in this kitchen, and so if that is going to be of benefit to you, we'd love to have you stick around and catch some of our upcoming content. Okay, see ya, bye.